This video is brought to you by the SHOT team over on Patreon. If you'd like to join our community over there and support the channel, get some really cool extra content and all of that good stuff, or maybe you'd like to see your name up on the screen like our $5 and up patrons that you're seeing right now, make sure you follow the link down in the description box below over to Patreon. And I would like to thank Mr. Ray B, who is a brand new patron of the channel. Thank you for joining, and thank you to all who are a part of the SHOT team. What's up, and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot, and thank you for joining us. Today we have a Patreon or SHOT team selected firearm that we've had for quite a while, and this is the Ruger Precision Rifle in 308. And today I'm going to tell you everything I know about it. We're going to do a little bit of shooting, pros and cons, all of that good stuff. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get right into it with specs, and then we'll go over the features because this gun has a lot of features. So there are several calibers. You're going to have 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6mm Creedmoor, 338 Lapua, 300 Win Mag. You have 22 versions of this firearm, so there's a wide variety of calibers. I chose one that is pretty common, obviously. Most of these calibers are common, but I chose one that 308 for the space that I have. Honestly, 22 is probably a better option, but again, I put this out on Patreon, you know, which one did y'all want to see, and they chose the Ruger Precision Rifle, and I just kind of picked 308 because the limited space we have, this is the best bigger caliber, I think, for that. So yeah, there's a bunch of calibers. This one is going to have a 20-inch barrel. It's 9.8 pounds, so it is a heavy rifle. It is made for the bench. Height is 7.3 inches, and you have an overall length anywhere from 39.25 to 42.75, so 42.75, almost 43 inches, considering your length of pull adjustment there. And then you have a width of 3.3 inches. And a twist rate of a 1.10 right hand twist. And of course it is threaded up there 5/8 by 24. So let's go over some of the features here. Let's just start at the front. We're going to kind of move this around on the table where we're going to take even better pictures, and then that way y'all get an idea of what this looks like. Now, before I get into that, I do want to mention it does come with 2 magazines. You can use the AICS mags or the P mags, which is what they actually send with the gun. These are 10-round mags, 2 P mags. Like I said, they're going to give you a piece of Picatinny that will attach to your M-lock right there. And you have a QD mount that uses, of course, a T-nut if you choose to use that. You're going to get a booklet, which you probably are going to need in the future because it gives you a lot of good information. No color pictures or anything like that, but definitely a lot of good info in this booklet right there. Now, the gun has been safety checked, of course, but basically what you have here is a dual hybrid muzzle device here, which is going to reduce recoil, and also it's going to minimize the noise. This is a pretty loud gun. Honestly, not as loud as you would think, but it is loud. So dual hybrid muzzle device there. 308, of course, barrel, cold hammer forged barrel at that. This is definitely a high quality firearm. So they, from what I can see, they spare no expense as far as parts and quality parts. You got aluminum 15-inch free floating handguard here. It's hard anodized aluminum. And of course it has your M-lock all the way around on all 4 sides. So you can pick and choose whatever you want to run. Of course, this would be ideal for a bipod. I just used the foam action targets for this one, and they actually did a pretty good job. But of course, a bipod would be fantastic on this firearm. Lights, lasers, anything like that. You have a bunch of space there, so you can do that. Again, a free floating handguard that can be swapped out if you so desire. All right, so coming back to the rear of the firearm, what I put on this one is just a Crossfire 2. It's a decent scope. It's a 3x9, and for what I needed it to do, I actually need to move this more forward, to be honest with you, give myself a little more eye relief. But for what I needed it to do, it did a fine job. So let me move the rifle around so y'all can see the features on the back end of the gun here. Let's just move to this side and then we'll go over to the other side. Ambidextrous selector switch there. Of course, it's just safe and fire. But for left-handed shooters, that's a nice feature. Of course, you have an oversized bolt right here. All right, there's your bolt shroud. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the shooting part of the review. So they originally started these out. They had an aluminum shroud, and then there was a very small number of cases. What would happen is you would pull the trigger, and then you'd move the bolt up like this, and the gun would actually fire then. So it would not fire when you pulled the trigger. It would fire when you moved the bolt up. So they took the aluminum shrouds and changed them to this polymer one. And there's a little dimple underneath that you can tell if yours has been retrofitted with this updated polymer ones. And now there's all kinds of aluminum ones that are fluted, upgraded from this polymer shroud, which actually does contain a tool in there so you can adjust your trigger and remove the firing pin and all of that good stuff there. So your lower right here is a 7075 T6 aluminum. It's two halves actually put together there, and that as well is Type 3 hard coat anodized for protection of the firearm. And we already talked about the bolt there, and of course you have your Picatinny rail up top, and then adjustable trigger. Of course, the trigger can be adjusted. You have your magazine release right here. There is a tool, obviously, that in the back of that bolt shroud. And then you can put that little Allen wrench down here, and you can adjust it anywhere from 2 1/4 up to 5 pounds. I see no reason to adjust this trigger at all. It's fantastic right out of the box, and I'll show you that after the shooting part of the review. Here's 2 screws right here, so you can remove that handguard and swap it out if you so desire. So now that we have it in this position, I will show you. You have a QD mount right here if you want to attach your sling, and then you have a piece of Picatinny on the bottom of this fully adjustable stock, which is what I am about to show you. All right, so there is a lot going on back here, and I will explain all this. Of course, side folding stock is really cool on a rifle like this and very handy. It's got a little lock right here, so you can lock this down into place like that so it doesn't move. There is, let me flip this around like that. There is a QD mount right there, again, for your sling. Now, if you want to remove the bolt out the back of the rifle, of course, move it to the rear like that. You have your bolt stop right here, and you're basically just going to push that bolt stop in while simultaneously pulling back on the bolt, and that will release the bolt just like that. Now, there's a couple different positions of the bolt. I'm not going to take this thing apart, but I do want to show you at least how this works. If you want to remove this shroud, you're going to line it up with that right there, and it just kind of pulls off and out like that, and then you can remove your firing pin if you want to, and then rotate it back like that. So now it's in the locked position. This little tool is removed by just basically moving it 1/4 of a turn, and then it's got your Allen key in there just like that. So this little bolt shroud, you can see it moves around. Again, I will talk about that here in a little bit. Putting the bolt back in is no problem. Now, unfortunately, I'll go ahead and say this now, we had a lot more shooting with this rifle up until about 2 months ago. I started having some issues with it, and so anyways, I actually broke one of my hard drives. My hard drive that had all of the shooting up to that point dropped off my computer, fell on the ground, broke, and to recover that footage is way too expensive. So unfortunately, we don't have a ton of shooting to show you once we get to that, which is just going to be here in a minute. But I think we have enough to really show you what this rifle can do, again, with our limited space. But this is really cool. So you have a fully adjustable stock right here for length of pull, for height. You can even adjust the butt pad. So how it works, let's flip it around this way now. You have 2 levers here. So you rotate that one, and you rotate that one. And now this allows you to adjust your length of pull. I put a little bit of a little bit of gun grease in there, so it'll slide easier. And you just want to make sure that they are lined up on the inside of these channels, and then you can lock that back down. Boom, you're good to go. If you want to adjust your cheek height, you can do that. You can rotate that right there. That will allow you to move this front or back. See if I can do this way for you. Yep. Just like that. All right. And then there's your length of pull adjustment again right there. Move it to the position where it will lock. And there we go. So a pretty cool adjustable stock. I think I was putting way too much thought into how this thing actually worked at first. But it's really neat that it has so much adjustment. And one extra piece of adjustment that you can do is you can move this butt pad 9 degrees either to the left or to the right by taking this off. And there's a couple different screw placements there, so you can move that around to fit your needs as well. So a lot of cool features on this rifle. It is seriously made for the Shoot Steel Target precision rifle rack that we have, man. If you are shooting outdoors and you have a firearm like this, that Shoot Steel rifle pack should be on your range, no doubt, because it is so cool taking a firearm like this and having plates that go from 8 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches, 2 inches, and being able to ring the heck out of those. It is a lot of fun, man. So I'm going to leave the link down to that below as well. Those guys have supported us for a very long time, and I don't mention Shoot Steel a lot, but you see them in pretty much every video, and they are behind the scenes type of supporter. And I'm telling you, man, we had so much fun shooting those rifle plates. It was a great experience. I must say it, man. We had a really awesome time. So this precision rifle and the precision rifle pack from Shoot Steel are seriously made for each other. If you follow us on Instagram, I've been sharing some pictures over there and on Facebook, of course. So, all right, so let's go to the range. Let's show you the shooting footage that we do have. And when we come back, we will talk about the pros and cons. I'll tell you the issues I was having about it, and I'll give you my overall grade of the rifle. So we'll see y'all in a minute. That was a good hit. Last shot. I know one thing, I'm rocking those plates. That was a good hit. Last shot. You see that tree fall?
Yep.
Holy. That 308 ain't no joke. Ah. There we go.
Nice.
Last one. Got it. Again. One more shot. Got it again. Whew. You see that tree fall?
Yep.
Holy. That 308 ain't no joke. Ah. There we go. Last one. All right, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that. I think we got some good angles. Unfortunately, I don't have more shooting to show y'all, but you'll have to take my word for it. We did more shooting with the rifle. I just don't have a lot of that footage. So anyways, our last trip with this thing, we had a good time. One thing that I did want to point out before I show you the trigger here really quick is the bolt problem that we were having. You'll see me in the video every once in a while is I'll go to pull the bolt back after, you know, shooting around. So I want to extract that last round and chamber a new one. And the problem I was having in the beginning with this thing is I would go to pull the bolt back and it was like getting, you know, trying to use the hand of God to get this bolt to come back to the rear. You can see it's even doing it right now. I don't even have a round or a magazine in this gun. And what's happening is, let me fold this stock. What's happening is when the bolt clears the back of the receiver like that, the bolt actually, that shroud actually moves around. So it moves to the point where it's actually, see how there's so much play and adjustment in that? I believe what's happening is it's getting stuck right at about that point. And it just won't allow the bolt to freely move back, which is why I mentioned there's aluminum fluted options, better replacements for this that you can use. And man, it was so aggravating, you know, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and can be the only thing. So I did look around to see if other people were having this issue, and it seems to be a thing with the Ruger Precision rifle. It's not something you want with a rifle, especially of this price range. But at the end of the day, by getting, you know, a $15 or $20 bolt shroud, you can easily remedy that issue. Of course, this one's on loan from Ruger, which I definitely thank them for sending this gun out to us. We've had it for a long time, probably 5 months or maybe more. But anyway, so that's what was going on. In that earlier footage, I was able to show that. I know I have a video on Patreon showing that. But anyways, so that was the issue. And this last trip of the range, what I did is if I started to see where the bolt didn't want to come back, I just kind of put the bolt back down, lifted it back up, and threw it to the rear. Is it acceptable? Well, no. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed, but it's not a deal killer on this rifle at all. Shooting the rifle. is a dream. Let me show you the trigger here because it's insane. Like I said, I have not done a single adjustment. I'm shooting it right how I got it from the factory. So of course we are clear. Always want to make sure of that. Let's throw that bolt down. And let's check out the trigger weight. I'm going to fold the stock so I can get a true pull on this thing. Help to turn it off is safe. All right, 4 pounds. Let's try this again. 4 pounds, 14 ounces. It does not feel that heavy at all, I'll be honest with you. Let me make sure. 3 pounds, 9 ounces. That feels about right. Again, you can drop this down. Yeah, 3 pounds, 13 ounces. Under 4 ounces right from the factory. Again, you can drop it from anywhere from 2 1/4 to 5. I don't see any need in adjusting this trigger. Let me reset this for you one time here. All right, so if you blink, you may miss this. So let me show you. Safety dingus, of course, right there. That's skeletonized. Hit the wall. You're basically at the wall. And it breaks right there. Let me do it one more time. Right there. And that's it. Very nice trigger on this firearm. One thing I don't think I mentioned is that the bolt is a 3-lug bolt. It's nitrided for corrosion resistance. And this right here uses an AR style buffer. So pretty much any AR style stock will work on this firearm. Although I don't see a real need to change from this, because although the cheek piece is not the greatest, I'm sure there's some different ones that you could get for that. But the length of pull and everything adjustment is really cool on this firearm. And again, side folding. So very nice trigger. The way this gun shot at the range was just a dream. All right. And yeah, that's pretty much the firearm right there. Again, I wish I had more shooting to show you. I just don't, but you know, maybe we can get another one of these in a different caliber here in the future, because I'd really like to stretch this thing out. This is one of these guns where I'm like, man, if I had 300 yards, at least 300 yards, how much fun it would be to ring steel with something like this. And that's what I want to talk about here now, is the uses of the firearm. And the most obvious is a long distance type of competition, or just at the range type of shooting, man. Just taking it out with your friends, with your family or whatever, and just going to the range, man, and trying to ring steel at the farthest distance you can, because it is a lot of fun. Competition, of course, no home defense or anything like that. This is not the gun for that. But man, for competition or shooting or training, or family shooting, family days, man, this firearm, hopefully you have more space than I do. That's all I got to say, because man, even with the space we had, we seriously had a fun time. So this is definitely a bench gun. A lot of adjustment, and they give you a lot right from the factory to work with, so you can add a bunch of accessories and do what you need to do with this firearm. Two things that are really working for you when you shoot this rifle, as far as the felt recoil, you have a very heavy cold hammer forged barrel. You have a very heavy rifle in general to soak up that recoil, and you have an outstanding butt pad in thickness, and the way this feels back here, it is fantastic, man. So really, the felt recoil on this gun is not significant at all, even in .308. I don't know how the other calibers are, but I can tell you that in this one, man, it was surprisingly soft shooting. It just did an amazing job when it comes to the felt recoil of this firearm. So kudos to Ruger and the way they set this up, because man, this gun actually shot like a dream. All right, so a lot to offer on the Ruger Precision Rifle. Let's talk about pros and cons. And the first pro I'm going to talk about is that trigger. Absolutely incredible. One of the best triggers, hands down, on any rifle I have ever pulled. Probably the best, straight from the factory. Fully adjustable, of course. I like the fact that it uses a couple of different types of mags. The P mags are nice and light. I don't know if I've even showed you one of those, but they're nice and light. They keep the firearm as light as possible, it being 9 pounds plus a scope plus a bipod. You know, another magazine, you know, it's going to add more weight, but I like the configuration. They kept it nice and short here. So, of course, they plan on you shooting from the bench. It's got like almost like an AK style release there. So you just push the back of the magazine and it comes right out. And this magazine well is flared for you, so it's easy to get your mags in and out. And you have a nice little spot. So when I was shooting from the bench, I kind of had it something like this, and I just had my hand writing right there, and it was very comfortable. Having it on the foam action rest in a .308 caliber, that thing actually did a really nice job of keeping this gun in place and where it needed to be. Ambidextrous features, I really enjoy that. I also like the side folding stock. I like the adjustability of the stock. It offers a lot of great features from the firearm, and the fact that you can change over to any AR style stock is really nice and modular. Okay, so they're not just sticking you with what you have here. M-lock rail, free floating barrel, so obviously accuracy is at the top of the list for this firearm, and it is stupid accurate. I mean, just ringing those little plates, be it 80 yards, but bringing those little precision plates is just a blast, man. I really loved shooting this firearm, and that is the #1 pro with this thing. Just taking it to the range, putting it on a bench, and just going at it, man. It's just such a great time. All quality parts backed by Ruger, and I don't think they need any introduction to what their quality is like, because it seems to all be very machined well. And I really enjoyed the rifle, to be honest with you. I like the oversized bolt handle. All right, this gives you a good throw here, so you can get this thing up, get it back, and get it back in. Of course, I got the magazine. Get the new cartridge back into place there. Love the fact that it folds, and that makes it so much more convenient when you're lugging this thing around and you have it in a case. You can just fold that right up. I got the bolt in there like that. Release that mag. Bolt, fold this thing up, throw it in your favorite carrying case. You can lock it in place if you want, and boom, there you go. So a lot of great features. There's some things I didn't like. That whole bolt thing kind of threw me off, man. That's not something you expect on a rifle of this caliber, no pun intended, of this magnitude, of this pricing. That's not something you expect. Hopefully Ruger will update that in the future again, because I just think it's something that could easily be fixed. Other than that, the whole cheek piece right here, not a big fan of this. This is not comfortable at all. And these little levers, sometimes trying to get them in between the right slot. You can see it was a little bit tighter right there. Sometimes trying to get this thing in the right slot can be a little tedious. But honestly, I feel like I'm nitpicking this thing. The grip texturing and the actual texturing on the grip, I feel could be a little bit better. Other than that, I really think for what this gun is, man, they offer you a lot. It's a very nice rifle and a very fun range gun. So that's what I'll give you, man. If I were to give this thing a grade, considering what it is, I would go with like an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe a 9. Once I got that whole bolt figured out, man, I'm all on board with the Ruger Precision Rifle. They make a very nice rifle, and it's a lot of fun to shoot. So the butt pad did a great job all the way around. There's a couple things I didn't like, but that's how it is with every firearm. No firearm is perfect. So there you go. There is the Ruger Precision Rifle in .308. I, of course, want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you are a power patron or up, make sure you look for your special outro coming right after this. We'll see y'all in the next one. And as always, hold 'em down.